I think what I'm going to do, Lisa, is I'm going to have Aaron go first because he's got a presentation. So I'm going to give him controls, and I'll let him do that. And then I know he's got to get to his daughter's soccer game,
Sounds
or
great.
not, or lacrosse game. Lacrosse is when you got the sticks you can hit each other with, right? All right. So your daughter gets to hit people with sticks?
Well, in that game, they're not quite as aggressive as Liesel's daughter in volleyball, but they're still pretty aggressive.
All right. Yeah, my son Zachary. You met Zachary. His girlfriend is a lacrosse coach up in Spokane, Washington,
Oh, wow, that's super cool.
at the college up there.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. So I've gotten to hit people with sticks.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's an aggressive game, but like I said, if you look at volleyball, taking an elbow or a ball to the face, not so fun.
Not as fun. Okay. Well, and they do they do that on purpose, Lisa? Do they spike people in the face on purpose?
Well, I mean, it makes you feel a little better sometimes if you hit that right spot and someone you're competitive with. I mean, I hate to say it, but once in a while you see a girl get it and it's like, yeah, that's horrible. But girls are competitive, just, like guys are, and they want to, they
Right.
they have those little things, but some of those balls come so freaking fast.
Yeah.
I won't even play with Ryan. She's got those serves that literally I'm one of the people that, just run.
You just hide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when my oldest boy was playing hockey, and it was co-ed league for the youth hockey, and the girls were more aggressive. I mean, they'd be checking the boys a lot harder. Yeah, I mean, and the coaches and the refs would just let them because they're going, well, they're just a girl.
You're just a girl.
Okay. But all right, well, folks, thanks for joining us tonight. If you're with us on Facebook, make a comment. If you're here on Zoom, let us know, and we're gonna try and cover a few things and stay on time and get out of here in half an hour, 40 minutes if we possibly can. Really, what I'm looking at is that we're in a perfect time when you look back at the Great Depression, the people that came out of that financially were very well off were the people that just stuck with it. And right now with COVID, I mean, we've really gotten hit hard financially, economically. The world is having to rebuild. And I notice all over town here in Fargo, help wanted signs. Every business has a help wanted sign, yet nobody's going back to work because everybody has just gotten so used to staying at home, and they really don't have a clue how to do a home-based business. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. She said that, she runs from her kitchen to the living room, from the living room to the bedroom, then she goes up to the, the laundry room, and never really gets anything done. And she said she can't wait for the day when she can go back to her office and work there full time. And I said, well, go back now. And she said, well, the office building that she's in the meantime, between COVID and now, the office building got sold. So now she's got to go find a new space. But, I thought, what a great time for us to bring Liesel and Aaron onto the call and kind of address some of these things. I mean, really, this is a volunteer army, and we all know that it's really easy to get started with network marketing. You just say, hey, I'm in, and it's just as easy to get out. All you got to do is go, I'm done. And so we really want to try and get people so that they can see the benefits of it, start making some of those profits. Because, I mean, really, if you want to take all of the Sisel products, I mean, really, honestly, I mean, I take 3 TSX a day. That's $450. And you just don't do that if you're not doing the network marketing part of it, the business part of it. So I thought, what's the most important thing in building your business? The most important thing really is your passion, your drive, your why. Why are you in this thing? Why are you doing Sisel? And so I thought that'd be a great time to bring Aaron on with his why Sisel presentation, and then bring Leisel on one of the Mowers so she can address, where we're going. And let's build this thing super, super big, and not just big. Let's build it strong. So 20, 30 years from now, we're all sitting back and we're going, hey, yeah, you remember back in 2021. So, Aaron, I'm going to hand it over to you, and Lisa and I'll mute ourselves out, and we'll just let you take over, and then you can, when you get done, you can pop off and get over to your lacrosse game.
Well, sounds good. And before you drop off, Doc, I'll tell you, you look skinny.
Look at my face.
You look good.
I was just commenting on to someone this morning. I used to have these jowls that were out here that would go like this when I talk.
You do look good. You look
like
really
a bass,
good.
like a basset hound. I had those jowls like a basset
Well,
hound.
even just everything through here, you just are a slimmer guy.
I like it.
Good.
Like it. I've lost 40 pounds, and I'm staying at the 40 pounds. It's like I've hit this plateau, and but I keep losing inches now. I'm not losing any more weight, but everything's tightening up. So I'm going through that transfusium, and I'm going through the Actify because I want to tighten up my skin, because I don't want to have this, when I'm driving the convertible, I don't want my loose skin going like this.
You do look good. Aaron's right. You look really good. 40 pounds is a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
People talk about that in weight loss, the world of weight loss, and that rarely happens. So congrats to you and all that hard work.
Thanks. Yeah, I got another 40 to go.
Well, you wouldn't know it.
40
I was going to say, it doesn't look like that to me either.
Yeah, well, you wait till I'm down another 40.
Yeah, you'll be in your fighting weight.
That's right. I went out the other night for a steak dinner with a friend of mine, and I was sitting at the table, and the waitress that always waits on me in this place, she hasn't seen me in 2 months, and she came back like after serving 2-3 other tables. She's like, "Holy cow!" She said, "I didn't even know it was you."
Well, that was nice of her to call you a cow, but still, holy
cow, that's right.
Yeah.
Shut up. All right.
Well, everybody, hey, I'm super excited to be here. We've had a great week, and Liesel was down, we were up at Tom Senior's house doing a huge meeting, and boy, it was so much fun. I had forgotten how much fun it is to see people live and experience kind of the energy and the excitement behind people hearing about things for the first time. And so I think, I don't know if Liesel's going to share much on some of the projects that she's working on, which she's working on a lot of things right now. But if she does, you guys will be, well, maybe we can't give any secrets out. I'm looking at Liesel's face in the little teeny box up there, but there's so many cool things that we're working on right now. And it's actually a lot of fun because we have so many different initiatives as a company to try to help support and to try to help give you guys the opportunity to really see the things that we're doing on our side to give the field the perspective that we see right now in what we see in the future and the vision and the strategy and the direction of this company. So it'll be a lot of fun for us to go through some of the things today. But one of the things that I've been doing is really trying to do as much as I can. Hold on one second. I've got to pull up my screen. And let's see if it will allow me to use my actual presentation. You know what? It's not allowing me, but let me just pull up a little bit as we talk and give you guys a little bit of understanding of some of the things that we're working on right now. And Doc, you can't see my screen, can you?
No, I can't see it. Did you hit the share screen?
I did, but for some reason it's asking me to do additional things, but we don't need to share it. It's not that there's any magic behind what I was going to show, but really just giving you guys kind of an idea of the why Sisel presentation. Now I'll send this out to whoever wants this. It's something that we had put together.
Try it now. I just made you the host.
Okay, let me see if that'll allow me to do it. It's still not. It's asking me to do a bunch of credentials. So let's just do this. I'm just going to bounce into it and give you guys kind of an idea. But one of the things that we've been spending a lot of time on is really re-educating people on why Sisel and who we are as a company, what we do, how we do it, why we do it that way. And the Mowers have a rich history in this industry, but also in manufacturing, also in sourcing materials, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that we were able to hear from Thomas this past Tuesday, when we had a big group of people fly in, was an opportunity to really understand maybe the supply chain and some of those things that are happening. And I know that Lisa will spend a little bit of time on that as well. But I really want you guys to know that one of the things that we've been working aggressively on is the supply chain side of the house, because there's things that have just happened over the last number of months and over the past year that have made it really, really difficult for a lot of companies. I've seen companies, especially here in Utah, go out of business as a result of the fact they just can't get ingredients. They can't get plastics. They can't get bottles. They can't get caps. They can't get a lot of these things that are necessary for them to stay in business. And from my perspective, what's really scary about that is that when you don't have the background or the history like the Mowers have, it makes it even worse, and it makes it more catastrophic as a company. But we go in and we've got people that have been sourcing materials literally for 35 plus years. And then you look at even Tom Jr., who for 47 years now, I think roughly is the number, that he and his father were building chemical manufacturing and industrial chemicals and different things that they had. So this goes back a long, long time. So I want you to know, I guess as a kind of a preemptive thought process that I'm in right now, is that we are doing so many things behind the scene, but a lot of that is outside of our control. And Leisel has been absolutely engaged and focused and doing everything she can to support that market. For those of you that are on from Australia and New Zealand, giving you guys every second of her day. And I kid you not, I see emails from her in the middle of the night. I see emails from her in the middle of the day, in the early morning, and in the nighttime, because it's a 24-hour business that we work under, and we understand that from an economic perspective. But it does make it difficult at times for us to be able to keep up with not only the supply and demand, but then when you find out that ingredients aren't out or aren't available for another year, or an ingredient may not be available for 6 months, or it may take another month to get here when we thought it would be here last month, whatever the case may be, it just makes it really difficult. And so I want you to know that there are things that we're doing behind the scenes that you may not see or recognize, but it is difficult when it is outside of your control. And I want you to know that we are doing everything we can, but especially Liesel, who has a very vested interest in your guys' space, making sure that she can do what she can within her control. And again, unless she jumps on a plane and flies to China or flies to Indonesia or flies to Europe or flies somewhere to pick up an ingredient herself, put it in her luggage and fly it back, it's a little difficult right now, and especially in some of those markets to even get in and out of. So I wanted to kind of give you that up front and hopefully satisfy some of the curiosity of things that she'll go over later. But I want you to know that she has my full support, as you do as well. And that's why we're on the call today. We absolutely love what we do. We love the support that we can give you, and it makes us crazy when we can't give you that. And I know that Lisa even talked about it on Tuesday. It's one of the things that you want to pull your hair out. I don't have a lot left, so I'm not going to even demonstrate for you. But the fact is that we are doing so many different things behind the scenes to try to figure out this puzzle, and it's a difficult puzzle at best. So with that being said, I also want to just talk about, again, the fact of the history of Sisel gives us a lot of timeline to be able to go back in time and look at different companies that we've worked with, and maybe companies that we haven't tapped into for a long time, but we're tapping into everybody now. So we're getting back on track. We see things sharpening up and shaping up, and we see ways that we're going to be able to impact you guys in a very positive way very, very shortly. So again, Lisa can go over a lot of that in the next few minutes. But my idea really today is that for a lot of you, there are many companies that are out there, and people always state that they have the best company, they have the best products, they have the best compensation plan, and that can be true in a lot of instances in one space or another. But I think categorically, it's pretty interesting to see how Sisel has continued to take form and take shape over the years, and that we are not a company that's out there being kind of that new flashy company. We're a company that is stable. We're a company that's strong, that has a foundation, that's debt free. And so we're going to get into that and a lot of that right now. But there are a lot of companies that come around and they're flashy and they're bright and they go, straight up in the air, and then for some reason they just kind of fizzle out. We don't want to be that company. We want to be the company that's absolutely stable, that the foundation is strong, and give you guys that confidence to build off of. And I know that, again, that's what we're going to talk about today, but I want you to feel confident that we are doing everything we can to stay ahead of this game. And I talked to Tom Jr. for a bit this morning and had a great conversation with him as we talked about, hey, you know what, we're really starting to see things stabilize, and we're really starting to see that, we can source materials from different areas. And one of the things that I love about Tom Jr. is that his experience drives that confidence for us. And, we'll be sitting in meetings, and I know Liesel's, we've all looked around the room and we all kind of shake our heads because Tom is really a smart guy. But he has the ability to tap into thoughts and ideas over the last, again, 47 years that most people wouldn't be able to tap into. So when he sees what I would consider to be a problem, he identifies a very quick solution to those problems that sometimes we see. And it may be as simple as putting a cap on instead of a pump in the bottle. It may be a flip cap. But the bottom line is that we've got to do the best we can to stay ahead of this dynamic that we've been thrown and thrust into over the last year. And how can we do that? So from my perspective, I really want to go back in time and talk about Sisel, the acronym, because Sisel is not a new flashy company. We've been around for a long time. We're a very confident company, but at the same time, we're not the hype company. We don't stand on stage and make all these promises that we can't deliver on. We don't try to tell you that you're going to make all this money. We want you to work hard and be rewarded for your efforts. So the bottom line is that Sisel is an acronym. The first letter is S. It stands for science. It's what we do, and it's really the first part of our name for a reason, because we're always trying to look for the research. We want to operate and own our own lab. We want to make sure that the commitment to quality is there. And if we can do that, we're going to really establish ourselves as that premier company that really stands on the science behind the products. And I used to say a lot of times, and I actually came up with a real catchphrase years ago. And I said, the bottom line is that if you trust the science, then trust Sisel. And if you trust Sisel, then trust the Mowers, because they're the ones behind it. So when Liesel looks at a formulation for a new personal care product or a beauty product or whatever it may be, there is science behind it, but also looking at making sure that there are no harmful ingredients, that there's nothing in it that we would substitute your health for our money or our monetary gain. And that's very, very important, because the second letter, I, stands for innovation. And the Mowers have really been at the forefront of innovation for over 35 years. I mean, these guys were the pioneers of really developing clean, safe products. And of course, for them, the Mower mission was to produce the safest, most efficacious and effective products that are free from harmful ingredients. So when I talk about that, it's a very true guarantee. We call it the Sisel Safe Guarantee. Why? Because we know and we believe that Sisel has a foundation of being that company that stands on the Mower mission for over literally 35 plus years now. So that the Mower mission is really the philosophy. The Sisel Safe is the guarantee that we're not going to have any harmful ingredients, that we're not going to have anything in there that could be potentially harmful or disastrous or any other potential ailments or issues caused as a result of that. Now, the other side of that is that that's why the Mowers built the 300,000 square foot plus manufacturing facility. Why? Because they knew that only they would be able to control the products from the time they source the ingredients all the way till the time it hits your doorstep. We want to make sure that we're in control of it. And they also don't believe that anybody would take the same care or consideration for their products that they would. So it's a super important process, and one that I've obviously stood very, very strong on for years and years, because I believe in that process. And for those of you that have gone through the manufacturing facility with me, I'm still in awe. That I still literally walk through and my jaw drops open, and I still can't believe what I'm walking through. I just did it again on Tuesday. I finished one tour, and then there were 4 people that showed up late, And literally I swung them back through again. Why? Because I just love showing it off. It's something that nobody else has. Nobody has a facility like this. And we call this facility so diverse, and that it's really one of the most diverse facilities in all of the US. Why? Because very few companies will do all of the manufacturing, from personal care to liquid nutritionals to powder to capsules to tablets to lotions to whatever it may be. It all falls under the roof of that facility. And that's a very diverse facility. And so when people walk through it, they're in awe. And I love that, because it gives me something to talk about, and it gives us all something to stand strong on, that's one of our foundational characteristics of being this incredible company. Now, the third letter, S, stands for success. And for a lot of people, S, the success side of it could be meaning, hey, I want to live a healthy lifestyle. And for others, it might mean, hey, I really want to have success in business. But with Sisel, you can have both. And I want you to know that you can share these amazing products with all the people that you know of, all the people in your sphere of influence, and those people that may be outside of your sphere of influence, but you can share this information with them. And that's rewarding enough, giving somebody the opportunity that we have for either health or wealth. Now that's something that we love, but the fact that you can get paid for doing so, that's next level rewarding. And we want everyone to be rewarded for the efforts that they put into their business, because we believe that that's the most important part of it. And I've really had a lot of long conversations lately with a lot of great leaders talking about the confidence that they need to show their teams to really understand what it is that we stand for. Why? Because they need to feel confident in what we have positioned as our statements of who we are as a company. Now, the fourth letter, E, stands for energy. And for a lot of people, the interesting thing is that we're energized about your success in this company. We really are. We have the systems, we have the tools, we have the promotions, we have the training to help you every step of the way. And we want you to know that you're joining like-minded people when you come into this company, people that are interested in the same things that you are, people that want great health, that want to create financial stability, whatever that financial stability looks like for you. And maybe it's an overage of financial stability. Maybe it's something that you want, you've got these big lofty goals. We want to help you get there. And that's our goal as well. And so we want to give you the opportunity to go out and share these amazing products with people and get paid for it and have an opportunity to really have a lot of great success. Now, the fifth letter, L, stands for longevity. And a lot of people immediately jump to this interesting conclusion that longevity is about anti-aging or age reversal. And I really twist that a lot. I twist it back to the fact that we're built to last. I mean, we're not going anywhere. As I mentioned earlier, we're a debt-free company, decades-long track record of helping people around the world. We want people to find health and prosperity with us. We want to be able to help people understand that this legacy is going to be passed down from generation to generation. So just like Tom and Leisel and Thomas and even Caden now are a part of this generation of helping. This is a legacy trust. And a lot of people say, well, what is a legacy trust? What does that mean? Well, Tom Sr., when he put this foundationally together, created a legacy trust that lasts for 999 years. So it wasn't some quick flash in the pan deal. It wasn't a quick make money, get rich scheme. It was literally an emphasis on, we want to be around for a long, long time. And we want you to be able to pass down from generation to generation to generation, your business that you've created and established with your integrity and your mind. We want you to have that same opportunity. And that's really what the longevity piece stands for in my mind. And so beyond this, our products and opportunity might just help you achieve that longevity that you want as well. What's interesting is that I was working earlier today with one of our video people that we have on staff, and he came in, and he'd come in yesterday as well, but I was too busy. I just didn't have time to work with him. And he said, Aaron, I really need to do some things on the Triangle of Life. I really think that it's something that we need to really bring back and show people these incredible products. And I said, yeah, let's go through it. So we started going through some of the details of the presentation. But one thing that I did was I pulled up pubmed.gov, pubmed.gov. And when I went to pubmed.gov, I had a chance to go and just show him some of the research, some of the information on there. And what was interesting is that when I first started working with Sisel, going back to even 2008, when I started researching some of the products and trying to get my mind wrapped around some of the details before I really started here, I looked at Fucoidan on PubMed.gov, and at the time, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it was 500 or 600 studies that were in PubMed.gov. Now there are over 2,186 studies, and I wrote that down specifically for this presentation today. But 2,186 studies are on PubMed.gov now. Now the reason that studies are out there is because somebody has a keen interest in that ingredient or in that product or whatever it may be, and they want to learn more about it so that they can share it with the communities that they serve. In PubMed.gov, those grants that are given are grants that are specific to something that they believe has some type of value biologically or whatever the case may be for us in our human world of living. And so again, they give those grants, they give that money to those people that they know have a need to go out and research and then show their findings. They care more about showing their findings and what they've researched and what they've learned so that they can share it with others. So again, 2,186 studies. Resveratrol. When you look at resveratrol that's in our eternity, there are over 14,263 studies. I believe when I first started looking at resveratrol, when Tom Sr. Really was talking about it nonstop, that it was about 2 or maybe 3,000 studies. So if you think about it from that perspective, there was a lot of information that was coming out that we now had as an opportunity to really learn more about it and really give us a chance to share that information. But if you think about that, over 14,263 studies now, it's absolutely off the charts. Why? Because it's a very aggressively studied and researched material, because it's done so much for human biology that they realize we need to continue to study it. Well, that's kind of interesting in and of itself. But when we look at some of the other products that we have, and when we look at some of the other details behind the products and a lot of the science and the research that we've even talked about, the foundational pieces of this company now, we really are at a point right now where we're seeing some advancements that in technology and research and science, if that doubles every 5 years like we know it does, if you go back to 1985, really when the Mowers first got started in this space, now take that as a factor of one, go to from 1985 to 1990, now you've got a factor of 2. Go from 90 to 95, now you've got a factor of 4. And it continues on to 2020, really hit about a factor of 128 times the amount of information, science, technology, research, and all of that's at our fingertips now. In 1985, you didn't have Google. You didn't have any of the computers to support all of this information. And the Mowers will tell you, it started off with material safety data sheets. They would go in and learn as much as they could and research as much as they could. But at that time, that's how they had to research and find the information. Now we can research anything. If I wanted to make a shampoo today, I could hurry up and look up somebody's formula online and probably pull it together if I had the brains to do it. I don't personally, so I obviously would go buy it at the store. But the bottom line is it's really changed over the last number of years. But to create that brand of Sisel and to really put a foundation underneath it is really something that a lot of people look at today as what's the value and what is it that we're trying to accomplish with the brand that we've actually created. I had done an interesting presentation when I was out in Pennsylvania about a month ago, and I had talked about this big branding and marketing company called Profit, and Profit spelled Prophet. They had turned to consumers at that time. And they wanted to find out which brands mattered most in their lives today. And so they surveyed more than 13,000 consumers. And this was mostly done in the United States. But they wanted to determine which 228 unique brands they just simply could not live without. And one of the things that they really started to talk about was creating your own brand relevance. And so I thought I'd hit on that just for a minute, because as you guys try to scale your business and as you guys try to grow that and give a little bit more emphasis to listen, I want to get out there and I want to really position myself. And I see a lot of you doing that, by the way, on social media and otherwise. But giving yourself that brand, you're branding yourself every time you walk out. So what are the 4 guiding principles that Profit used as their criterion for brand relevance? Well, number 1 was customer obsessed. They wanted to find brands that people were absolutely obsessed with. They wanted to find brands that were ruthlessly pragmatic. What was their approach and how did they go after the the space that they wanted to occupy. They wanted to make sure that they were distinctively inspired. What were some of those brands that literally made a massive impact or change to the world that we lived in? And then obviously pervasively innovative. What were some of those brands that could become more innovative? The reason that I did this presentation was that I really wanted to talk about Sisel as a brand that has become many of those 4 fundamental pieces that Profit looked at and used. And so when you look at the Profit Brand Relevance Index of the top 10 for last year, the first one on the list was Apple. The second one on the list was Peloton. The third one was KitchenAid. The fourth one was Mayo Clinic. The fifth one was Legos. The sixth one was Costco. The seventh one was American Honda Corporation. The eighth one was Johns Hopkins Medicine. The ninth one was PlayStation. And the 10th one was Amazon. And so when they looked at each one of those fundamental characteristics, they had to understand what it is that each one of those brands represented. And then where were they in terms of what you would consider to be the brand relevance or customer brand strength? Because there's a danger zone, there's a virtuous cycle, there's the untold story, and then there's the relevance challenged. And so they tried to understand what those were. So when you think about what you're trying to accomplish in terms of your business and what you are representing, which is you and Sisel, I understand why your frustrations at times go off the hooks and off the charts, because it's so difficult when you're trying to represent something and something outside of your control. Just like I talked about with Leisel and I, there are certain things that we just don't have control over. And that might be a sourcing of a lid or a bottle cap or a seal or a container or whatever it is. And so we've talked about it. Hey, we've thrown things in tubs now that we would have never, ever put in a tub, but we have to be able to get it back out to you. Or we've put things in a bag that we have never put in a bag before, but we had to because we had to find a solution quickly to continue to keep this on. But one of the areas that I want you to know is that you can stand strong on the fact that we are a company that is positioned based on values. And if you can take your teams, and this will be my last minute, if you can take your teams and you can give them an opportunity to understand there's a great model that Salesforce had come out with years and years ago, and it was called the V2 Moms. And the V2 Moms is a really interesting dynamic because the first 2 V's, which is the V2, is vision and values. Okay, the mom is methods, obstacles, and measurables. And so if you can think about what your vision is, and you can sit with your team and you can create your vision, and you guys can together orchestrate that vision, then understand what your values are that are your foundational pieces of what you're trying to accomplish, because you want to do it with integrity. And then if you take your methods, understand your obstacles, and then put your measurables in there, it will allow you to start to understand better how you can impact your market and your demographic that you're going after. And once you guys can all get aligned, there's a big push right now that is shifting from what I would consider to be performance management to performance alignment. And in the past, a lot of people love this performance management. It was kind of this basis of, hey, let's look at this annual basis and let's identify how people are doing annually. Well, that's not the case anymore. It has to be constant and consistent check-ins and checkpoints where we have an opportunity to get together and talk about what our vision is, what the values are, what are those value statements that we're living and operating under, and then what are the methods that we're going to go out and approach the market and approach the space that we're in, and what are the obstacles that we know we're going to get hit with, whether it be family, whether it be weather, whether it be economy, whatever it might be, whether it be COVID, who knows, whatever those issues might be. And then we use that to understand how we're measuring our success. And measuring our success is an individual item, and it's also a team item. And so to bring that together is really the opportunity to understand how you together, working together as one cohesive unit, can work together to make it all happen. Now, that cohesive unit also includes us at Sisel on the employee side. We are here as a support mechanism. We're here to give you guys the track to run on, if you will, as Tom Senior always said. We're giving you guys the ability to run as fast as you can or as slow as you want. We want to give you that track to run on. And so when Leisel talks about some of the things, some of the initiatives that she's been working on, I want you to know that we are absolutely lockstep. We're arm in arm, and all of us are trying to do the best we can to try to give you guys the best results that you can possibly achieve. We would never hold you back, because if we held you back, we hold ourselves back. So our goal is to always give you the best we can with all that we have. And guess what, guys? At times we don't have anything. We're struggling to find it. But you know what? One of the things that I love, and again, I'm just going to end with this. Tom Jr. said today that we were talking about a product that he's been in development. He's been working on the formulation. And he said, I'm going to double the amount that we're going to purchase because I think it's going to be a home run. So he's talking about now doubling. Well, just to double that one run of a new product would be somewhere, and I can't, and Liesl, you may shake your head, but I think it was about $250,000 to $300,000 invested to put that together. It's just, at times we just sit back and okay, well, this is what we're going to do now. I got to get busy. Liesl has to get busy. We have to get people excited, motivated. So folks, I am again super excited to be here with you today. I'm going to turn the time back over to Doc Fizz and give him an opportunity to bring Liesl on. But I just got to tell you, I just am so impressed with each one of you, all the things that you're doing, all of the time and the effort and the energy that you've put into your business to really represent Sisel at the highest level. It's so important to us. So again, my hat's off to you. Congratulations on all the things that you're doing and some of the tough times that you're working through. But once we get through it, it's going to be a blip in time on your radar screen, and we're going to get through it. So folks, have a great day. I'm going to just close off my video, but I'm going to listen to Liesl as well.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. I really appreciate it. And a lot of great points that you made.
Really fast though. This is so cool because I learned something. You know how like you want to learn something new every time. Aaron, my favorite quote I did not know came from you. Trust Sisel, trust the science. And I say it all the time. So when you said today, like I came up, I'm like, that is my favorite thing to say. Sorry, Kurt, but I just thought I gotta tell her, and it's fun to learn something new of where things came from. And I kind of just thought, it's something our creative team came up with years ago. So I love that one. So
right on. Well, thanks, Liesl.
Very cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. And a lot of great points that you made, and I really appreciate it. I mean, we've got the company, we've got the track to run on. We just got to make it work. We just got to keep going forward. So with that, I'm gonna hand the microphone over to Liesl, and Liesl, coming from the Mower side, from the family side, as well as from the corporate side, and knowing where everything kind of came from, where it started. I'm gonna let you take the microphone. I'll mute myself out and let you take over.
Well, talking about where everything started and then where we're going, because where we started, obviously, I was on a call. I did a lot of calls. It was such a crazy week this week. We had a big group fly in from Atlanta. They came a couple weeks ago with almost 30 people, brought back 20 something, and next week they're bringing back 20 something. That always takes a lot of our time and attention, as we like to give them a lot of training. And we took them up to Dad's house, and it was pretty emotional for me. We were up there. That's where we used to do meetings, as most of you on this call have been up there and seen Dad's house. We go down to the theater, or we go into the basketball court, and we have a meeting and stuff. And they're awed by the house, and it's awesome. It's sad without him. It's different, but the reality is the message is the same. The message is the same, whether Dad is here or Dad's not, because one thing Dad was a workaholic, and if you're going to spend time with Dad, most of the time you're going to work, because Dad's a worker. And Kurt talked about families from the Depression, and his parents were from that, so very frugal, very money conscious, and knowing of the value of the dollar. His parents, his grandparents, those people really struggled, and you look at my dad's house, and we weren't raised that way. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. And I think it's to our benefit, honestly, because it was, you work, you get out, you hustle. And I'll never forget learning, as we have a tradition with the Mowers, and it's Memorial Day. We always get together on Memorial Day. We go up to our cabin and we go around, and of course we take flowers and we put them around. And my dad likes to go on tour. And I'm so grateful and thankful that he had my daughter Ryan with him in his Jeep this last year. And she was able to hear from him. You know, I've heard it many times, and he'd go around and he'd talk about all these places that, you know, growing up, and there's a barn where he had a mountain lion and it was tied up, and he walked in there. And I mean, and then there's this lady, Opal, he'd go visit. And then he talks about a home that he lived in, and you see it, and it's been refurbished, but dirt floors. And he talks about, you know, a home with slats, and he says in the winter, he said, would just blow through and be freezing cold. Outside bathrooms. And that shaped Dad. I mean, that's truly, if you look back, those are the beginnings of Dad's desire to have something better and more in life for him and his family, and he did. And you know, it's sometimes we listen to society, and society wants to tell us at what age or, you know, who is allowed to do what and when that time is over, and preparing, you know, to retire. And, you know, Dad started his first MLM company in his late 40s. And that came, you know, with his other company's demise. And I remember Dad talking about that and saying to me, had that not happened, and he says, and that was a very stressful time. I was in high school, and we were nervous and we were scared and we had to move. These are things, you know, when you look back and you see all those quotes of successes that are built on failures, and that's exactly what it was. And Dad had a day of thinking, and then Dad, boom, he knew what he wanted to do. He knew science and chemistry, and he'd been looking at a lot of the things that he'd been using to degrease his floors and get paint off, and saw that in the personal care products, and he knew he could make a better product. That's where it started, is with him truly knowing that there was a place in the market for a better product, and he was going to make it. And literally at an age where there are some people who say, okay, you're going to have to think about what you're going to wrap up, you know, starting your retirement. Dad was like gangbusters, and on his way to building the 5th biggest multi-level marketing company in the world. I mean, and I say that, I'm not bragging. I say that for him. What an amazing man. I mean, I'm so proud of him. Sorry. And I do that on these calls. I feel bad every time I get off, I cry. But I'm so proud of him. And Kurt talks about where are we and where did this start? It started with so much heart from a man who had a business that he no longer had, and said, where am I going? Just like everybody else who starts Sisel or starts whatever company they want to do, and says, you know, what's my why? My dad had a why, and it was his family and himself, and he wanted more than he'd had. And he wanted us kids to have more than we'd had. And he just started going. And, you know, I talk about, and I did a call for Amanda and her team this week, and they just said too, kind of like, Kurt, what was the beginning for you? Well, the beginning for me was, you know, I was in high school, and we took that trip to Jackson Hole, our family's favorite spot. And I remember, you know, Dad was changing his profession, and I saw him doing a lot of studying and not really knowing what was happening until we were going to go to Jackson Hole. And, you know, at the start of this trip, we all put magazines, streets, we got gas and all that. And I got some tanning lotion that I wanted to buy. And so we all put our stuff down. Of course, Dad was buying it for us. And as they all come through and the ladies scan them, I see Dad reach out and grab my lotion. And, you know, as a teenager, I'm kind of watching him like, you know, it just, you know, Dad doesn't, why does he not want me to get that, you know? And I see Dad do what we talk about people doing, and he turns the bottle and he starts to read it. And I like, okay, this isn't like what I did not grow up with this. This is new. And I'm just watching him like, what are you doing? And he reads it. And after a few seconds, he's like, who's buying this? And I said, I am. And he said, yeah, if there's too many ingredients in here that are just horrible for your skin, Liesel. And I'm like, okay, you know. And he's like, I can't buy this. He's like, if you want to go with me, I can find a better one. Because at the time we didn't have products. He hadn't started making our own. He was just getting ready to start doing some testing and making those. And there's these moments in life, they stick out. And I'll never forget this story, because again, my dad had drawn a line in the sand. From this moment on, his family was not going to have any other products that were bad for him as far as he could help it. And, I was a teenager and I did not want to go perusing the skincare line and lotions with my father. That was mortifying. But he said to me, if you want to use your own money, and that's what I did. I grabbed it and I got back in the line and I got it. But boy, was that a moment for me, because I knew Dad's why. And he started to talk about that harmful ingredients. I could see that, he started talking to us about the things in our home we were getting rid of, and we're throwing away all this stuff that, we'd used our whole lives. That's where our beginning was. And that's where we still are, is that amazing company. I remember when Dad was out there and we were just starting, he had some companies sue him and talk about and say, this was scare tactics, and that these products that he talked about, that were in cleaning products, well, it was true. It was all true. And now, of course, it's the cool thing to do, to put what harmful ingredients are on the front of the bottle, and it's almost in every product line. I'm really proud of Dad for starting that. He was a pioneer in the utmost sense. And I can honestly say at that time, he stood out to the point where people were like, oh, that maybe, okay, it sounds good. And it was the truth. And he knew it to be the truth because he knew science. And he knew, and like Aaron said, we have to trust Sisel and we trust the science. And that's what Dad relied on, is science and nothing less. And what else is there? Is just because that is the thing that tells us. And I said to this group before, that's what gives our Sisel distributors the edge, is because you literally have the best products out there. And like Aaron said, there are some products here and there in different companies that we don't have, that might fill a need that we haven't looked at yet, because there are, and that's just the truth of it. But the product line that we have, really, our distributors can go toe to toe with anybody out there, and I'll give an example. And I don't want to take too much time, so if I keep going too long, tell me. But just look in the skincare line, look at Transfusium. And I remember making this product with Dad, and he wanted so many active ingredients in there. And I'm just going to tell you about one, and it's Equal. And if you do a little bit of research with Equal, it's also in our Energy for Her. It is one of the most amazing ingredients out there. It's awesome. It's awesome as a topical, and it's awesome as an ingestible. And it is the main ingredient for Energy for him or for her. And it's listed. It might not be quite listed as that, but I'll have to check. I can't remember the last formula that we had, but I can get you the name of it. But Equal. And New Skin has a skincare product that's over $300. And their one amazing ingredient in there is Equal. And I say that not to be negative about New Skin, but just to say we have that in more amounts, in our product than theirs. Plus, we have so many other great ingredients because Dad wanted to load it. And I always tell this story, when he was making this product, and it was kind of one of the first products that I did with Dad, as I'd come back, to work. My kids, were getting grown and gone, and it was kind of one of the first products that I started to really work with him as far as formula work, and so interesting. And he kept adding active ingredients, and he explained to me, Liesl, we've got these issues for women, in this product. And he says, it's crazy to think that one ingredient out there, people expect it to solve all their beauty problems. And, I remember, really just common sense. And I thought, yeah, exactly. He says, women are stuck full with drawers of beauty products that is the one hit wonder that's supposed to be that can't be, because science for every issue that we have is different. Science for a wrinkle is different than science for an age spot, and science for plumpness is completely different than science for sagging. And you're not going to get an ingredient that does all things, which is why he wanted to add so many active ingredients in it. And he kept adding it and kept adding it. And I remember one day just saying, because we'd get so far and we'd start on the label and we'd start registering it and then he'd find other ingredients. And I remember saying to him one time, gosh, Dad, I think we got a lot, of stuff. We need to stop. And I remember he just seriously looked at me and said, do you want a product that works? And I said, yeah. And he said, that's what I want to. And I mean, he was just serious. And I thought about that. And he wanted to make sure that he had a product. There's 5 different issues with skincare. And he had several ingredients in there for each of those problems that we encounter, men and women. And he said, our biologies are so different. What works for one might not work for another. That's why it's just such a brilliant method. He uses it in most of the products that he formulated. And, I said to this group too, because I asked Dad once, because somebody asked me, ask your dad what his favorite product is. And I did. And I was really surprised. I kind of thought it might be Fucoidan. It's kind of been our main product, still probably our #1 seller. And the age pill had come out. How brilliant. I mean, Dad always on the cutting edge of science, TSX, brain vitality. You travel around, you hear all these amazing stories. And I thought, is it going to be age? And he said, Spectrumax. And I was shocked. I said, really? He said, absolutely. He said, as the foundation that you need, that you're not getting in the things that you eat anymore. And he said, and so you take that as your foundation, and then you go from there, depending on age, health needs, and your goals in your health and what you want, what you're doing. And are working out, different things like that. And then you build your Sisel products from there. And I remember I just loved his answer. And it was hard because he's like, one product. And when you have products and you make them, or they're your idea, they're like your little babies, you love them and you want other people to love them. And he, it was hard for him to decide, but that's where Tom is so brilliant now, in that not only does he have all those years of working with Dad, but he has that education in biology, and he's brilliant. He literally is brilliant. And I took him a product last week. I was at work, and we've been looking at some different products in the personal care line, the skincare line, to really be some fun. We want some fun products, that people can kind of put it on and see something really cool. Exfolium's kind of one of those that I love, and really popular with the younger set. Great acne product. Lots of people talk about that, especially putting it with the cucumber lime. Just a little tip that's really going well for people. And he, gosh, I lost my train of thought, everybody. But where was I, Kurt? I'm so old. No, now I do that all the time. What was I, Kurt? I'm horrible. Where was I? I do this with my kids. Someone come in and help me here. It's that old age thing. And what were we talking? Oh, with Tom. So I showed him this video, and I need my brain vitality. And he loved it. And he said, I can make that. And I said, can you? And he said, I can make that. And I was just like, oh, I mean, I was giddy. I was so excited. This product is so freaking cool. And it's one of those products that just gets the market excited. We need some of those because they're fun, because we're a product heavy company, always have been, probably always will be. That's the way Dad made it. And I like it that way, because if the products don't anchor you, you know, you're not going to have a stable team. And talking with Kurt, you can be here for as long as you want. And part of that is kind of going through these rough patches. So that's what I want to address next. We've got so many great things happening. That manufacturing plant, that's one of them. Because I'm telling you, it's helped us out in so many ways that would be worse with our products and the back order issues we had if we hadn't had those. Tom's experience and the amazing things he's able to do. You'll see a few different changes in products as we're not able to get the same ingredients that we've got for years. And those are the things that we're going through. But and especially Australia, I'm going to kind of speak a little more directly to them and just say, you know, they've struggled. And I want you to know that we're with you. I mean, you say, and for the leaders, positivity up or negativity up, positivity goes down, and we're the leaders, and the negativity comes up. But you know, it's been tough, and some of the timelines that we've had and that we've given, they passed, and we didn't make it. So I can only accept responsibility for that, and I do. The problem, and Kurt talks about that, is we're in a different world here. You know, my son sells pipe for a living, you know, and he's come home the last few months, and he struggles because he's got customers. He wants to make sales. He doesn't have the product. He doesn't have the product like he used to. It's just a disrupted supply chain, and it's affected every single business, like Kurt said, and the ability to get things that used to get before from people that aren't even there anymore. It's, and Aaron talks about a puzzle, and I do too when I'm on my calls, because it is a daily puzzle of, okay, this isn't there, now what? But you know, everyone has been hanging on, and then, you know, it seems like, oh, I see sales go up, I get excited, you know, I talk about that, I put that out there, and we have another week and sales go up, and then, you know, we struggle, and this Geodis thing is about killed us. But here's the great thing, everything and in Sisel right now, and all the resources are directed right at Australia right now, everything. And being down there the last little bit, I finally just said to Tom, and I forwarded him some of the emails and texts that I get, because, you know, he helps him keep the temperature of where we are. And I said, we don't have any more time. We can't go to Geodis and pushing UPS, because UPS is doing all this testing. And I said, we have to figure out the GST. We have to figure out extra costs in shipping. If we're going to do with vouchers, which we are going to do. I said, we honestly, waiting for UPS isn't an option anymore. And so he, you know, we sat and talked for a while, and he said, you know what, then he said, we'll hire our own IT specialists, and he said, I heard somebody say that we could, you know, do some patchwork and get our US to Australia direct connection. And we can get that going before we've got UPS who is able to do it themselves. And I was like, please, yes. And he did it that day. And he sent me a text, and he said, I've hired an IT specialist. He'll be bringing somebody with him just for Australia, just to get this moved. And I said, thank you. And I just want you to know, we are trying to move heaven and earth. This next Monday, we've got 14 to 16 people who are all meeting at corporate. all about Australia and any issue you have. Please email me anything that you want me to address. Trust me, I think I know most of them, but tell them to me anyway, because if you want me to take a look at them, well, I've got this brain trust of amazing people. And I just want you to know that everyone's hearing you and everyone realizes how long you guys have stayed loyal to Sisel from Dad's first company, truly. And like Kurt said earlier, the successful people are the people who stick with it. And I'll look back to where we were a while ago with Sisel in Australia, and we were awesome. We had people making some great checks. There was a lot of excitement in the air. Every month's growth, we were killing every other country, and it was fun and it was awesome. It was exciting. We can get back there. We can, and we will. I promise you we will. Our hearts are in this. You know, it was kind of funny because Thomas said to, or Milo said to this new group that came in, he says, you know, if you're looking for bling, that's not us, you know. But we got heart. We got tons of heart, and we're a company of heart. And I said, we can, you know, we can be bling. I can be blingy, you know. And Thomas says, you drive a Ford truck. And I said, that's true. But the reality is, I'd far rather have heart than bling any day of the week, because that's what's going to get you through. It's that feeling, you know, it's that legacy that Dad left all of us family, distributors. And he'd want to know that during this time, we're supporting and helping each other. And, you know, I get emails from people all the time saying, Leisel, thank you. I appreciate it. I get the opposite too. And it's fair, because I'm responsible for how things are going. So, you know, I take both and take what I can from each of them. But I do want to tell you guys how much I appreciate your support. You guys have just been awesome. And I want to ask you guys to just hang in there with us, because like I say, if we could talk about all the resources of Sisel right now, they are all for Australia. They really are. And next Monday is kind of this brand new person coming in. And I'm going to start doing some every other day reports, so we don't wait until a country call. We do have a country call out Friday, and I also want to announce we have done, Milo and I, a WhatsApp call. So I'll put that on our Australia page, and Milo will put that up on his US Facebook page. But it gives all of our back ordered products, and it also gives the 4 new products that we've got in Australia: Sisel Thin, Organic Cleanse, a couple others, and then the rest there. But just want to let you guys know, there are so many cool things from, you know, new products. We didn't want to stay with Jodas, and there's cool, and people wanted to go, you know, USD, and they wanted to go straight from the US and share that catalog. And there's going to be some great announcements with that. And I haven't even talked about that. I'll give some fun teasers, but that means literally opening the whole catalog, because there's some products we haven't had in Australia that we're going to have now. And we're putting some really fun packages together with that kind of makes it like an every month promo. It's super cool. And we're loving doing it, because we're excited for you guys to see it. We understand that right now it's difficult to be excited. We just need to clean up this stuff right now, get our orders, know what's in them, see what's in them, you know, and all those things that you guys deserve. It's the way you need to run your business. And we understand that. We truly do. And we feel you. Tom wanted me to tell you guys the same thing, you know, that he's listening. He's heard it. You know, I've been sending those to him. He's read them. And boy, did he come in a big way the last couple of weeks and given me the resources that we need to push this thing through right now, because we need it now. And that's what he gave us. So I'm really excited, Kurt. I went over, I apologize, but we got so many cool things happening. But I also know a lot of frustration. So please keep messaging me. But I want you to know it does not fall on deaf ears. We are not, you know, going around and literally, if you knew, you know, really how, I mean, this is a very serious thing for all of us. We're taking it that way. And I think you guys will be happy with what we'll put together. And I'll make sure that we get some updates that'll kind of keep you in the loop every day or two, and messages that will kind of let you know where we're going.
Lisa, thank you. And I appreciate that. You know, one of the things that I try and I hear from people all the time is they say that they feel like they're kind of the unwanted stepchild, you know, being down under because everything is happening up here and the focus has been up here and they hear about all the growth up here and it's like it kind of makes them feel like, well, what's up with us? What's going on? So I appreciate you being able to share that information and
And if I
just
can
keep.
comment on that, Kurt, because, and I'm sorry, I know you're trying to probably wrap this up, but it's funny because that comment we heard a lot, Dad and I. And, you know, Dad loved Australia. He just did. He just, you know, it really grew fast in his first company and he loved the people there. And so when we started work on it, Dad literally said those words, Kurt, they need to not feel like that second, you know, that's why, and I push for that, you know, we're going to have the same, you know, I was on a call this week with a group from Russia and there was about 13 of them on there. And, you know, they just said, we feel like the unwanted stepchild in the US and Australia, you know, and it made me feel bad because I know that's how Australia's felt. And I hope Australia doesn't feel that now because I mean, that's what Dad wanted to show. And that's why Dad got on every other week. And he did those training calls. And we did that for what, a year and a half, 2 years. And Dad was there unless he was out on business. But he said, we're going to give Australia the support and show them that we value them and they are not second to anybody. And, you know, that we want to do as much for them. And that was exactly his goal, is to make them feel as important as any other market. I heard that other market say that. And I told him, I said, you know, Australia has said that years before. And I said, and we need to, you know, kind of show you guys some love too up there in Russia and stuff. But you're not second to anyone. And I hope you guys feel that because if there's any difference there, you know, we'll make sure that we equalize it and stuff because that's always been important to me. And so I appreciate you saying that, Kurt.
You bet. And I think that's really important. It's important to everybody down in Australia and New Zealand and Russia to know that I mean, as a global company, we have to address all of them and put them all on top. You know, nobody's second.
That's right.
And I think that's so important. You know, you're bringing up the fact that you asked your dad what was his favorite product, and my son and I were sitting with Senior out at the cabin up in the mountain, and my son asked him, my youngest boy, he asked Tom, he said, what's your favorite product? And he told us, he said, Spectramax. He said, everything else is built upon that. He said,
That's
if
right.
you don't take that, he said, you're missing out.
Mhm.
And I remember him telling him that. And then you brought up transfusium. I mean, holy cow. I mean, I was just out for steak the other night, like I said, and it happens all the time. People come up to me because I'll turn 60 years old next year. I just turned 59 a couple weeks ago, and these women say to me, they say, what do you put on your skin? And I always have to show them that 30-second video of how the transfusium worked. But I remember when your dad gave me that first bottle,
Yeah.
and wow.
You're our
But
first before and after picture.
yeah, it you know, I'll tell you, Lee. So we really do like Aaron said. I mean, there's so many reasons why, and you're bringing in the corporate side of where we came from, and you can see, you know, you're carrying on the reason why that your dad started,
Yeah.
and we just got to keep pushing through these. I mean, the COVID has just really changed a lot of things. I mean, a lot of I go and do things here, and you just don't see people shopping, and you go to the store and just the stores that I shop at, they're always missing things. I went to get wire today for wiring a truck that I'm rebuilding, and they don't have half the supplies that I need for wiring. So I'm having to take a marker and mark on the wire. So I know that it's a different
like
color.
aluminum is such, you can't get Coke. You limit how much Coke, and same with Campbell's soup. You can only get a certain number. And you look at those big companies that aren't able to get the materials they need. And like I said, my son can't get, the stuff he needs for his job, and it's really everyone. But we're pulling out of it. And the nice thing, I guess, with all this craziness that we've been through is we've been in a growth spurt. It's made it hard, but it's also made it great because we have a lot to invest in the future, and Tom's doing exactly that. I mean, there is no question of, if we need it, we put it there, because we got a great future.
Perfect. So, and so did I hear you say that the Australian market now will be, instead of using New Zealand dollars, it will switch to be using American dollars?
Yep, USD.
Perfect.
Yep, I'll make all those announcements. But yeah, it will be USD, and straight from the US to Australia. And like I say, products that we haven't had before, some cool things. And I'm going to say a couple, because everyone needs a little bit of, okay, there's some fun things coming. But we're looking at just some creative, out of the box things of putting different packs together and say it ships for free, and just some really fun things that when we finally get there. Yeah. And cool products that Australia hasn't had, putting them in some really fun packs. And it's just fun. We get in these meetings and everyone's like, let's do this, they'd love this. And I get excited, and I wish I could say more, because we're going to do some big announcements with that. But Australia's got some really cool things up ahead, just getting past the shipping thing. And I love that Tom just got us our IT guy. I can't wait to meet him on Monday, and we'll get to that, and we'll get there fast.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, the only word that I can think of is crikey.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect one.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Aaron. Thanks for joining us. Everybody that's been on the call, and thanks for being here and being part of the team. And for those of you watching the video, share it with people. I mean, you don't have to be on our team to share this video. Let people know that we've got a lot of good things happening over here at Sisel, and it's really, like I said, build your emotion up, because it's your emotion, it's your why, it's that fire that you have to have inside you, because people don't buy companies, they don't buy products, they buy you.
Yeah.
And that's so important. So thanks again, Leisel. Thanks for everyone, and
appreciate it.
And I look forward to seeing bigger, better, everything. So
absolutely, we're headed that way. Have a good weekend.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everyone.